Oh, snap, is the landscape changing, guys. Things are really weird right now, right? Um, I'm doing this from home. I imagine you guys are joining from home. Um, my webcam isn't on, but I assure you I'm wearing a three-piece suit um, with a tie clip. I got like a cover bun, like I'm rocking it right now. I'm definitely not in regular clothes. I'm dressed very professional. I'm sure everyone is dressed very professional as well. Um, and yeah, besides our outfit choices, coronavirus is really reshaping education. And I think long term, it may be some good things that come out of this. Right here is a quote from a news article that was fairly recent, and we were getting to see that we really weren't very prepared um, to do a lot of self-directed learning, to do a lot of distance learning. And we're seeing that it's really important to have like a place of learning in general, not just within the classroom, a place where you can coach kids to learn the best they can, to use all these other tools that's available for them so they can be the best learner they can be, right? To be a little bit more independent, to maybe have a little bit more choice in how they complete assignments. I think that's beginning to be more addressed now, that we're not just in these controlled environments in the classroom anymore. And there's certainly a lot of struggles going on right now. Um, One of the main ones, and one is a constant issue among a lot of people, is integrating technology in the classroom. This is from a few different surveys um, done on a national wide basis from 2016. And I think everyone would agree, you'll see this 90 percentile right here, that educational technology can really impact students. 90% of people, inclusion teachers, now not just SPED teachers, inclusion, say, technology can possibly impact students. Though we have lots of struggles with it, right? You'll see over to the right side, over here, teacher responses to National Survey of Technology Use in the Classroom. Majority of people don't feel very confident in their tech use in the blue, right? Many, and this is becoming less and less each year. I could tell you from the last decade, I've seen more and more people use technology proficiently in the classroom in a very creative way, but a lot of people still struggle to use it. And only very, very small percentage, you'd see about 10% of people feel very confident in using their technology and getting the most out of it. And people are really going through this struggle right now of trying to make this new place of learning online that's not the classroom, trying to integrate this technology, trying to integrate the curriculum and making sure students are accommodated multiple ways, have more than one way of just turning in assignments and doing things. That's one thing I used to harp on during my universal design for learning presentations, where like we need a way to accept and dish out digital assignments. A lot of people didn't have a way to do that. Now we have no choice. We have to figure out how to do it. And I tell you what, this was kind of like the factor before. Why weren't we just rocking Google Classroom, Canvas, all these things before, all these great technologies? And what I really like to show is Chris Bugay's frustration matrix. He goes through a lot of ideas, definitely new ideas with like technology and integration and distance learning. Um, the first thing that happens in a cycle of frustration, definitely before these times, is that we have this great idea. Let's say you hear about a really, really great idea that's just going to change how you work with your students. People are going to be able to learn in different ways and express themselves. You're pumped about it. So you decide, let's have a workshop and training. Everyone's going to be trained on how to use this iPad. Everyone's going to be trained on how to use the whiteboard, Google Classroom, Go Formative. So you do a workshop, you teach the people of the new thing you learned, and you know what? You killed it. You killed it. The workshop was well received. Half the teachers love you because you introduced a really great idea in technology. Let's say the other half of the teachers hate you because you're too successful. Fantastic, right? We're moving up in the world, but a lot of times only one or two people are really trying the new thing. And some people start it and it just kind of fizzles out. It doesn't really work out very well. Right. And no real change kind of happens. Sometimes that's the case with trying out new things in the classroom. And the reason why is because we're not really set up for flexibility to begin with at the very, very start. We need lots of different options in the classroom. We have to have a classroom of flexibility, which is very demanding right now. We all have to be incredibly flexible to student schedules, parent schedules, how students are going to send assignments, how students are going to receive assignments. And there's three different models and approaches that people usually try. The first one is kind of just a equity-based one. Everyone's just going to have the same tool. That's the idea. Everyone is just going to get an iPad. We're going to give everyone a computer, and we're just going to have school. As you see, that's not really the case for everybody. These kids right here are trying to see the curriculum, and there's some barriers right here in front of them. And the barriers could be learning disability. It could be time factors at home that stops them from being online to learn from your digital classroom now. Whatever obstacle we have to overcome, that's what this fence represents. The ball game represents the curriculum, and this is the tools we give them, right? We're trying to give them all the same tools so they can achieve success. But you know what? Not everybody learns the same, right? Not everyone has the same schedule. Not everyone has the same way of doing things. And we see over here, we begin to find that out. A lot of this happens maybe sometimes with SPED students. We know this kid's working out, so we give this kid a tool because he can't quite access the curriculum like the other ones. All right. And let's say this kid, he had some special needs, so we just gave him more and more tools to look over that fence. But what we really should have did at the very beginning is plan for classroom accessibility, plan for universal design for learning, where all students can access the curriculum without the barriers in the first place. So they're all using these types of devices. Maybe every kid has access to speech to text in case they want it. That's just built into your classroom procedures. As we'll talk about, that's beneficial for all students. Maybe some people do want text read aloud to them. Well, everyone has that option, not just little Johnny over here. Maybe some kids do better by making video presentations. Maybe they get nervous talking in front of their classroom inside of the Zoom meeting, right? They get really nervous. My son is taking his third grade classes, and he has these really great ideas, but it's kind of weird for him to talk on the computer in front of a bunch of people. But you know what? When he could pre-record a video, he knocks it out of the park, and that's an option. For him in his classroom. He could make the video, he could make a presentation, or he could do a live oration of what his ideas are. But it's available for everybody at the very beginning. So you have those structures in place to accept different mediums, to show different mediums to kids, not just a bunch of text, right? And we're not just kind of just adding tools on one kid over here, one kid over there. Example that happens a lot in special ed, and we're not talking about special ed exclusively today. I hope we all know that this is for all students, but some kids may struggle in a classroom, let's say, that's filled with paper. So we give this one kid Kurzweil, right? Well, we're kind of making him stand out a good bit, right? No one else is doing this. The classroom procedures are for this kid over here. And we're just going to give this kid a computer and Kurzweil. Sometimes that doesn't work out very well, right? And the more and more tools you try to give one kid, the less efficient the class is. It's hard to run a class when we only do things for certain kids and we don't have a plan to do them from all. And that's what universal design for learning is about. It's about choice. And I don't know if you guys have seen choice boards before, but this is the perfect time to really get kids to buy in and really get kids to try different tools to find out what kind of learners they are. What's the best way for them to learn information that you give them, and what's the best way that they can express their learning to you. Um, and if you take away anything from today, it's not just about a list of tools that are really cool for you to use. That's what universal design for learning is. It's having the availability, having something like a simple choice board like this, where they can choose what platform they want to use. They can do message boards. They can make blogs or video presentations. They can make interactive images, as we'll look at later. They can make digital books. They can make songs and podcasts about the types of things they need to do um, to express that they're learning. And it's a lot more fun. And usually, if it's more fun, they get a lot more out of it, right? It's not just sitting at the computer reading a bunch of text. It's not just sitting at the computer and just doing something like Khan Academy or iReady. It's about student buy-in. It's about student expression and student reception. So a really great opportunity to explore what tools kids may like. Try out different things. They have to be their own independent learners. Definitely now in this more uncontrolled situation, they're not in the classroom. So make choice boards. Fantastic thing to do. You can make them from all ages, all kids. And some of the tools, if you like them today, have kids choose which one they may want to try and show some examples. You may see a tool you like, and a good way to introduce a new tool is first you do it. Later, if you see ThingLink making interactive images, if you think that's cool for your students, well, you make one, right? Introduce what it can be like. Try out different things each week. And then eventually your choice board may have more and more and more options. And your kids will usually gravitate the tool that works best for them. That's what we want. We'll skip that one. What we don't want to do, and what we're trying to do in a lot of cases, is retrofitting the environment, right? We didn't really have ways to do a lot of good distance learning. Maybe we had something like Google Classroom, but maybe we didn't have the training to use it. So we're doing a lot of retrofitting, right? And when we get better at classrooms, we definitely want to plan for this kind of stuff. We don't want to retrofit the environment. And in fact, that's where universal design for learning comes from. Architecture, universal design. And we tapped on the learning part. But you see, there's not much universal design over here. In fact, that's kind of dangerous. And this is an actual photo as well. They just kind of put some ramps here and say, you know what, this is wheelchair accessible, let's roll. In some ways, that's kind of what we're doing with Zoom, with all our online distance learning. We're trying stuff out for the first time. We're trying to retrofit what we've done in the past with something new. And there's some growing pains, but we want to definitely, as time goes on, the new school year begins, and definitely once things get back to normal, if that's ever going to be the case, right? We'll maybe plan to have some of these online tools used in the classroom more often, right? And over here, you'll see the universal design is for everybody. So someone with a wheelchair can use this ramp. Someone with crutches can use that ramp. Someone who just walks just fine can use the ramp as well. We're not just catering to one type of person and situation. We can cater to all of it, right? As long as we plan for diverse classroom needs of learning at the very beginning. And that's what universal design for learning is about. And there's 3 fundamental questions you have to ask yourself to get rolling. All right. The first one is, can I convey information in more than one way? And that's you, that's the teacher. How can I give different ways for kids to understand the material besides just something to read? All right. Number 2, what is acceptable evidence of student learning? Right? How are we going to assess the kids on the skills that they're learning and not something else? For example, if it's social studies, how are we going to distinguish grading the kid on their ability to read versus their ability to understand the differences in agriculture between upper and lower Egypt. Just threw that out there. Upper and lower Egypt. Watch the documentary lately. And number 3, how can I gain and maintain their attention? How can we get student buy-in? Definitely now when they could just minimize the screen and go to Minecraft, right? In fact, there are these really funny videos going on where kids, oh my goodness, are recording themselves at the computer typing and writing down notes, and they just play the video during the online Zoom meetings. So the teacher thinks they're there the whole time, but they're just there in their, they're like on their Xbox playing a game while a video of them at the computer plays. So we have to make things more exciting. Definitely now where we have a lot more distractions available for these kids, since we're not in our usual controlled environment. And I used to harp on this, but we're not being able to do a lot of paper now, are we? We need more than just our traditional options, but definitely more than just paper options, right, for our kids to learn. Now, again, this isn't for special needs kids. It's for all kids that we're talking about, but I still want to show you how complex the brain is by just talking with you about just for a few seconds, right? So we see our dyslexic reader on the right, and we see our typical reader on the left. And what you see in the red are the different areas of the brain that activate when you're reading. And take notes of all these complicated names that I'm about to drop here. You'll be on the test for sure. You'll see the one in the back of the brain right here. That's the occipital cortex. That's when you look at a word, you're reading, and it temporarily gets stored right here, right? So if you see the dog jumps, the words the dog jumps, more or less get stored right here. Then we use the parietal cortex to look back at this part of the brain and start dissecting the words with phoneme segmentation. We're using phonics. We're breaking down those visual characters and we're assigning them sounds. We're creating words. We begin to connect it in syntax. We're seeing these images, we're making words out of them. And right here is the Broca's area, that's speaking. Then we're able to come up with our own ideas, convey information about what we read, or just read aloud. And that's just one way, just one side of the brain that's being used. We're not even showing the other side of the brain. A lot of points trigger in the brain when we're reading. It's an incredibly complicated process. And I say if we did a brain scans right this moment and we're all reading something, I think all our brains would be activating maybe in the same areas, but it's going to be a little different. No two brains are really exactly the same. Everyone's going to be doing things a little bit differently because neurology is incredibly complex. I'm sure we're all going to be looking at the letters. We're all going to be trying to add phonics and phoneme or use our phonemic awareness. Where I will be conveying information, but we'll be doing it a little bit differently. And for some people, that's just not a strong point for them. And for our dyslexic readers, that's really an issue because they're bio-neurologically different. We're not just fighting low reading skills, we're fighting neurology. They're programmed differently. Are we just going to put a Band-Aid on the situation and, give them Kurzweil for something to be read aloud? Or can we come up with some other ways to express the information? Because neurology is neurology. We're not going to be able to go in there and give them surgery and be perfect readers. Even though we can keep practicing, we can keep trying, we need to do a little bit more, right? And just to show you what it's like, and I'll open up the chat right here. I want you guys to look at this and try to figure out what this is about. I'll give you about 3 seconds. No, not 3 seconds. I'll give you about 1 minute. So right here is a passage. And this is what it's like reading with 50% accuracy. Does anybody know what that's about? Any takers? Not really. Oh, okay. Someone said not really. No, someone said pyramids. This is what it's like reading at 60% accuracy. This is what it looks like reading at 70% accuracy. So you only know about 70% of the words. Some sort of ancient society, yeah. Here's 80% accuracy. And, sometimes that's considered about average, within a basic range in some DIBELS testing. Definitely for kids with special ed, you'll see a lot of IEP goals with 80% accuracy. And you probably can know right now it's about ancient society, yeah. But, is that enough to answer 10 questions on a test? Oh, someone said Peru. Yeah. You guys are in the ballpark here. But do you think you could pass the test on this right now? And this is just one paragraph. Can you imagine like 4 or 5 pages being only able to read 80% of it? Nah. Right? Okay, here's 90% accuracy. So now we know, yeah, man, this is Egypt. The person who came up with pyramids, you just nailed that. I'm impressed. I've never had anyone do this before without getting to about 80%. Very impressed. But even 90%, if this was 4 pages, it's still very hard to figure out what is going on. Dyslexic sons. Oh, I hear it. I have dysgraphia. So my reading is good. My handwriting is atrocious. And sometimes I go too fast with ADHD and I mess up my spelling. But yeah, that's what it's like. You see why people get frustrated, right? Before they even try to read, they know it's a challenge. They have to go through that bio-neurological condition that inhibits them, right? It's frustrating. So finally, we get 100% and it's clear. So really, you have to be a really, really, really good reader to make sense of things, definitely in science and social studies. You don't need a disability to struggle. Some people just don't have reading as a strength. I could tell you one of my coworkers, she does not like reading very much, not very particularly good at it, but she's an absolute genius. And she can express so many different ways, comes up with the best ideas, so the best trainings, so the best innovations in the business, and not a strong reader, right? It's just not their thing. One is ADHD. Yep. Yep. That's what it's like. So yeah, we want multiple ways to represent information, right? And a lot of times we'll talk about the flip side of this. Remember, the first is ways we can give them information, and the second way is going to be how they can give information to us. So let's look at the first way. Interestingly enough, infographics and visuals really, really make a difference. Almost 50% of our brain is evolved in visual processing. And 70% of all our sensory receptors are in our eyes. And in general, we can get a sense of a visual scene in less than 1/10 of a second. So, example, which way conveyed the information faster? The picture right here are flying cliffs, or are you reading, while you're traveling down this road, there is a chance that one or more rocks of varying size may fall from the slopes on one or both sides of you. You should be aware of this before you travel this way so that you are cautious of this particular type of hazard. Yeah, there's a reason we use these images when we drive down the road. It's so much faster. It gets the information out there very quickly. There's a system to it. Our brains just naturally adjust to it. So adding a lot of cool visuals, videos, and other things that I'm about to show you is a really good idea to get information across to your students and not rely on just a lot of heavy text online, or when we get back in the classroom, a bunch of paper in the classroom. And keep in mind, we'll talk about flipping this where students are given information at first. Very cool tools out there that you guys may want to experiment with. Something like Canva, ThingLink, Infogram, Piktochart. First thing I want to show you is ThingLink. Fantastic thing, very engaging. You can make a free account right now. And what you do is you take an image, you put interactive parts, and you can either make a discussion, you can make other websites pop up, or you can insert videos from YouTube. So here is a science lesson about parts of the body, right? And let's say the kid needs to learn a little bit more about the heart. Well, you know what? We have a video about the different chambers in the heart. So they can explore the heart right here. Click on it, and there is a quick instructional video that gives them a little bit more information. That's pretty cool. So you can link your own videos. You can record yourself, and a kid at any time of the day that's available for them, they can load up this image from Google Classroom, their email, from Canvas for Schoology. Click it and start exploring, right? And this works on any image. You upload the image, you put these target points. Again, the target points can be text, they can be videos, they could be, with the paid version, fill in the blank, different website links. A really good way to bring all this spread out information on the interwebs, right, on the internets, and put them in one place that makes sense. That's what ThingLink does, and it adds that visual, so it makes a lot of sense. You see exactly what parts of the body are being talked about right here. And of course, this is fantastic for something like social studies, where you could add maps, other areas like that. You can map out, have kids map out their homes. Some people have uploaded pictures of books they've read, and they'll do a little video discussion on the pages that they're on. ThingLink is really a fantastic tool, and it is freemium, right? But the freemiums aren't really necessary. It's just going to collect student data, which you don't have to have. Let's see. That's ThingLink. Let me see. There was one more I was looking for. I think it may be over here. Oh, here's planets. That's a really cool one. So there's an image of Earth. They went through, dissected that. That's a really cool way to engage your students. And of course, this would be a great way for students to express how they learn. And ThingLink is really great. It gives you a web address, and you can put that web address within any platform you're using for distance learning. And when they click that web address, that ThingLink will pop up. Pretty cool stuff. That's something I highly recommend. One thing that I can't get enough of if I'm designing slides or trying to make graphics is called Canva. I use Canva all the time just to make things as a professional. Let me sign in with one of my accounts. Oh, that's a sign up. Let's log in, y'all. Logging in with my personal account. They give you a whole lot of tools and templates where you can make a web slide, a slide deck, a whole letter, a poster. Let's just say a presentation. And they give you lots of different templates you can use. I know a lot of students like to use Canva. When I went to Nichols and I did a dyslexia account with them, we had the students go through and they made their own magazines, right? So first I had a magazine about visual learning, and then they got to get on Canva, and they were able to drag and drop different words. They were able to go through, add feathers, add free graphics they wanted to, and really customize however they wanted their presentation to be. Again, this is a free tool. You'll see every once in a while something has a dollar mark on it. Some of the really nice stuff will cost you a little bit of money, like $1, but the majority of this is free. And you're really able to make a really good graphic without having it be very complicated. A lot of good software, like the pros use, like Photoshop, it's fantastic, but you don't really have anything simple in Photoshop that kids can just do, or for that matter, us adults. This is drag and drop design. Very easy for teachers to make slides to put in their maybe Google Forms, making different images, slide decks, etc., backgrounds for videos. It's a fantastic tool. And they have lots of different templates here. Now you can even add in short videos. Really cool. Canva, and it's free. Other things you may like to do, Piktochart. Really great way to express information visually. You can type in what you need your information to be, and it will straight up make a few options for you, where you can have charts set on population, bar graphs, pyramids, pie charts, intersloping lines. You can really customize and make some very good informational graphics. Very good. Infogram, very similar. It's definitely, I believe, oh. Let's type it in here. Reports, mapping, definitely less focused on design and more focused on the graphs here. So you can type in, you see the little spreadsheet that pops up to the right. You type in all your conditions, all your numbers based on categories, and you can start populating and making your graphs right there. Really great way to make information. Hello, if you have any questions about infograph. No, thank you. All right, let's get back to business here after I already left. Oh, snap. And there's this thing really cool called insert learning. So let's say you found a website that you want your kids to get to, right? But maybe they won't find the points you want. Maybe the website could benefit some videos on top of it, like ThingLink. Maybe you want to put a video on this website. Well, you can do that with insert learning. And I'll show you how insert learning rolls. So right here, I can just click on any news article. This works on any website. We'll do live coronavirus updates, right? And I downloaded the insert learning extension right here. So what this does is allow me to customize this website for my students. So right here, I highlighted this part. And let's add a comment. And students would be able to make comments as well. So now the website, if I send my link to my students, they click this, it's going to say great point. Let's say we want to add a sticky note. So now I just turn this into a little response. And let's say we go a step forward. So let's say we wanted to make a video about, of course I clicked on news, it's going to be about the coronavirus. Well, let's say I need to give them a little bit more information. You see my sticky note? I can record a video of me talking right now. If I had my webcam working, you'd see me in my three-piece suit in my fantastic home office on this video. So I actually can record a video, explain and elaborate, and insert that learning. Insert learning is the word, right? Into any web page, right? And it's going to save that web page in my account, and I can send my own version of that web page to my students. Pretty cool. We can insert questions. And yes, it will show if the kids answered them or not. That's pretty cool, right? You could insert discussion questions where you'll have, so right here, insert question. It's just the kids answer a question, like fill in the blank, small, maybe a paragraph at the most. Right here is where they're going to see other classmates. So they can all log on to this website you chose and have a discussion right then and there, and not have to go back and forth to a bunch of tabs. I've gotten lost in tabs a few times, as you notice. That's easy to do. That'll be easy for your kids to do, definitely if they're not used to it. Very cool. Oh, okay, let's see. Are they captioned? Do you have to upload your own information? For example, could a teacher upload them signing the information? Very cool. Track responses from students. Yes, you could track responses from students. You would have to use a program that captions you beforehand and insert that video. What some people do is get on like Google Hangouts and record their screen with captions turned on. If you like to, remind me at the end, I could send you some captioning information as well. Right now I caption a lot of my stuff by hand, but there's lots of quick caption tools that you can try out. And what you do, you caption it beforehand, then you put the video into Insert Learning. Yeah, Insert Learning is really cool. When I found out about it, it's been out for a few years. I thought it was like magic. Like I can make any website interactive. Really, really cool. Yes, you can upload your own videos. Yes. You can upload your own video in Insert Learning. You can also upload your, I believe you may be able to upload a link to other websites as well. Some things, I believe there is a freemium charge, right? But yeah, you can upload your videos on your own version of the web page. What some people do to make it a little bit easier, they'll play the video and use this. It is complicated. You can ask me for more details afterwards. Let's move on. Don't want to get bogged down too much. Really cool stuff. You know what? I like low tech too. Low tech is it's good. Some people just benefit from low tech, and we have lots of low tech. I won't harp on it too much because can't do much of it right now. But line trackers are really awesome. Highlighting tape, fantastic. Colored sticky notes, really good low tech approaches. Just to have all kids have this option, and you'd be surprised. Sometimes kids may have a little bit of a tracking issue. They get lost easily. They may still be good readers, but some tracking is off, and sometimes this makes a difference. Let's say you do have paper, and you want to have an option in your physical classroom where kids get things read aloud to them. Or there's lots of apps out there. Claro Scan Pen is the one you're seeing right here, but there's also Prismo. And Kurzweil Firefly doesn't really exist anymore. Now it's just Kurzweil Online, but it does the same thing. So right here for $4, I could take a picture with my iPad of a worksheet and then highlight it with my finger, and all the words I highlight get read aloud. You know, that's really awesome. That's optical character recognition on the iPad using the camera. So what some people do, and I encourage you, there's a spot in their room where there's some iPads, there's a headset, and if a kid just wants something read aloud and listen to it, because some people prefer that, they just put on the headset, they grab that iPad, they take a picture of that text, and it's just read aloud to them. And no one's different. Sometimes we give these kids, people will use this for kids with special needs, but they feel like they're stand out. They just rather sit in the room and not ask anyone to read it to them. But they're a little bit more willing to get up and go use this tool that's available for everybody if they have trouble reading. It's not as big of a red X on them. So I really highly encourage you. And you get ones like Prismo right here. Prismo, I believe, is a more expensive one, maybe about $10, $15. But Prismo, just like this, but would actually translate for you. I've had some students that spoke Chinese, German, who would use the iPad to take a picture of the text and use Prismo to translate it. So this is how you can be more accommodating with your paper. Because sometimes you gotta use paper. Some kids prefer paper. Kids need paper options. Some people just do better with paper. My wife keeps a paper calendar. I think it's absolutely insane. Why would you have a paper calendar? Geez, my calendar, I need to put so many things. I guess my handwriting's so bad, I can't fit it in a regular calendar, but she just does better with paper. She's able to keep up with things better. So paper's a good option, but if you do paper, you still need other options as well, right? Another cool thing that we'll have too much time to talk about is Go Worksheet. Now, Go Worksheet's $20, but instead of just taking a picture and have something read aloud, you can actually make things drag and droppable. So kids can write on the worksheet digitally. Kids can have it read aloud to them digitally. Kids could actually take their finger and move the money around. You can actually clip what needs to be movable and have a drop box for it. And you can make the digital worksheet grade itself. As soon as the kid gets done, it's graded and they send it to you digitally. Really, really cool stuff. It's called Go Worksheet. It's not for the faint of heart because it takes a lot of setup. It's a learning curve, but once you get it, it's absolutely fantastic. But there is a learning curve to it. It'll probably take you about 2 hours of playing with to really get a good feel for it, no doubt. Go Worksheet. Oh yeah, you'll see right here, kids can click the microphone and record their voice. So he took a picture of the worksheet right here. He clicks, he can record his voice on top of it instead of just write. All these words right here, they click the little microphone, it gets read aloud. Right here, they can drag a line and everything's already read aloud. And it'll send to all students at once. Pretty cool stuff. That's Go Worksheet, $20. Some other cool things to show you. Let's see. Rewordify, really, really cool website that if you paste text or you, let's say we go back to this website over here. Let's see, live updates coronavirus. Let's go back and not use this. So we got New York Times over here. Let's rewordify this web page. So what it did was change the lexile level of the text. So obesity, maybe your kids wouldn't know what obesity was. So it automatically inserted being very overweight, something that makes it more likely that someone will get a disease. Risk factor. They defined it for you. So it'll take some difficult words and change them accordingly to what your settings are. Employees, funds, allocated, gave out. Really, really cool. Sometimes, and you'll see, it usually takes away the ads. Every once in a while you get a little funny response. Also, it already has all the classical literature that's free. So if it's like over like 50 years old and the author's dead, odds are it's on here and you can click it and it's already rewordified. You are good to go. So here's Plato's Apology. Things like Shakespeare will be on here. Huckleberry Finn, Mark Twain is on here. A lot of the stuff you'd find in your classrooms that are the old classics are all here. And there's a few different ways too. So you can actually rewordify, then send it to the student, or the student can rewordify it for them. I'll show you a few different ways you can do it. It's where you have the more difficult word is replaced with a definition. You can have it where the more difficult word is displayed, sublime, and you click it to see the definition, and you can click this to have it read to you, so you actually hear what the complicated word is. Like a kid maybe couldn't see expedites, couldn't sound it out, but now they can. Expedites, that's what that word means, right? You can display both words side by side. You can split it in half. Some teachers have done this where they had an original right here, and they had the rewordify version that they would just print out. You can also make custom word banks. It'll go through and make a word bank for you, which is pretty fantastic. So the kids, it may be a lot of heavy jargon. Maybe they're reading about the coronavirus. If you want to scare them, I don't know. But maybe there's a lot of jargon that they may not understand. Well, you can go ahead and rewordify it with a word bank right here. And you don't have to do the extra heavy lifting to make it more accommodating for all your students. All those crazy words that they're not used to will already be defined in the margins by clicking one button. And this is 100% free. 100% free. It's called Rewordify. Highly recommend it. Really good way to display information for your students. Project Gutenberg has lots of free stuff on UCLA, and I'll show you Tween Tribune. I love Tween Tribune because they will give you the same article but at different Lexile levels. A little bit more precision than what you would get with Rewordify. And what's beautiful about stuff like Google Classroom, you can send this out to your students and no one knows somebody else is reading a lower Lexile level. So you could actually send, let's say you have one kid in your classroom, he's an amazing reader. Well, you know what? You're just going to send a link to the 1230 Lexile level to him. And let's say you have one kid that's kind of struggling, but you know, it's not reading, this is science, right? Different class. You can send him the link, copy link address to the 660 Lexile level. So all your kids, unbeknownst to them, see, you even have the assign button right here in Google Classroom. They all could be reading the same article, the same news article, but on different Lexile levels. Unbeknownst, they don't know. They don't feel like they're any different to anybody else. You could just send them a unique link. And they're just like everybody else. They're able to discuss like everybody else, but they're all reading a different version. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, gave me a 5-minute warning. The links are inside the presentation. All right, 5-minute warning, I'm gonna go through pretty quick. Text to speech, there's also lots of that. Read and Write for Google is one of the better ones. You'll see right here, it's highlighting the word, it's showing the word, and Read and Write's free for teachers. It does cost money for students though. You can also highlight something and click this audio button on Read and Write for Google, and it will actually make an MP3 file. So you can highlight a bunch of text and create an MP3 file and listen to it while you're at the gym, right? Or you're doing something else. And text to speech has been proven to help a lot of kids read better because let's say you have a biological neurological condition like dyslexia, sometimes just reading over and over gets bad practice unless you have someone working with you. Unless you have someone right then and there correcting your errors. So this actually shows you the way it's supposed to look, the way it's supposed to sound. And there are lots of cool highlighting tools that I recommend. Some kids benefit from screen masking. Again, I'm showing you Read and Write for Google just because it's the Swiss Army knife for everything. There's also cool tools out. You should try it with your kids. Beeline Reader will go through and either make contrast or blend the colors of all the paragraphs they may be reading online. So with the click of the button, they'll be able to color code each line of text. And supposedly, the way the human mind works, a lot of people read more quickly and more accurately when words are faded in different color. right? And this is free, Beeline Reader. So this is a great opportunity to have kids say, hey, try this out. And if you like it, you think it makes a difference for you, we'll just use it, right? Give it a go, guys. Today we're going to try out this tool while we read. And if they like it, well, good for them. This helps a lot for kids that have ADHD because they'll look away, they'll get distracted, but then they're able to see where they were. I know, not really intended for kids with ADHD. It was intended just to help people read faster, but it really works. That's Beeline Reader. I got excited with over my time, almost over my time. Let's see right here. What's trying to load? All right, we got a stuck slide, but we're gonna keep rolling. One thing that's very interesting, and this is a free website called Readsy. Again, supposedly we read faster sometimes by reading one word at a time. So you can go to Readsy, put in a website or put in a bunch of text, and it will read to you one word at a time. So you don't get lost, and apparently you read more words per minute. When you're looking at one word at a time. For some people, let's use speed reading. I kind of read like 3 words at a time. But a lot of people, all the normies, apparently read really good one word at a time. And you can pause it and just skip. So you can look at that word, dissect it, not be as stressed by looking at those 32 pages of words that are really difficult, right? You're just seeing the one word. You can dissect that word, figure it out, click next, see the next word. Readsy is another free tool that just gets your kids to try. Some kids prefer reading some articles like this. Definitely when they're very, very long. They say they read faster and more accurately. Give them a chance, who knows? But great opportunity for kids to try out lots of different things. We'll move through on math a good bit. I had a lot of different things here for you, but math can be very confusing. Right here, a kid is doing math calculations correctly, but you know what? That's 1 + 2 = 3 + 7 = 10. I used to see this a lot as an elementary school teacher. Sometimes the test may not be very accommodating for students, not even students with special needs. At times, some regular education students I would see at the very beginnings, definitely first grade, kindergarten, and sometimes even second grade, they would add their number placements in with their math, and they'd miss all the problems. But they're adding more numbers accurately than everybody else, but they're still missing it. You know, the test wasn't very accommodating. Sometimes we don't have a lot of areas to write in with the mathematics. Sometimes giving everyone a calculator doesn't really make a difference. So I definitely recommend using a lot of manipulatives in mathematics because your brain is already overworking. You're trying to solve math problems, right? You want to make them a little bit more concrete. You don't want to always add a lot of technology for math because then they have to think, you're already thinking a formula set of steps, and now you have to think of a second formula set of steps to operate the technology. So what's really good about math is having your kids record over what they're doing with their images. So right here is virtual math manipulatives. You can Google virtual math manipulatives, but your kids could be in a webcam. You could share screen with them while they're doing math. And this is from Glencoe. The textbook maker actually has something free. I'm going to go about 5 minutes over, guys, since we started about 5 minutes late. Apologize. So you can drag and drop rulers. You can make game boards. We could do live with your class. You can actually do real work, slope intercept, coordinate grids, and your student would be able to go through and plot on the internets and share their screen. Fantastic, right? And manipulatives really, really help kids understand. It's really hard to do math when it can't be hands-on. This makes it a little bit more hands-on. And there's lots of cool things out there. One is like Seesaw. I love Seesaw, but you can do this just with, a kid can just take a picture on their iPhone and write out or make a video about how they got it right. So right here, you won't hear the audio because this is a GIF, but what happened was my son, who was in kindergarten at the time, went to video, went to picture. He took a picture of his 10 frame, He hit record and said, I need 6 more to make 10. That was his grade. So you could actually grade live action, right? You can actually, right here, count by fives, show a calendar date. You can act out something, record and annotate it as a grade. Fantastic stuff. Written expression. Remind you guys, there's lots of cool stuff out there. If you're using Google Documents, voice to text is free and it's built in. If you are using Google Documents, you can go to Tools, click Voice Typing, and begin speaking. A lot of kids really like voice typing because they're actually able to get their ideas out. There's lots of students out there that they see that blank space and then kind of become overwhelmed. But if they start talking to you about it, you realize they have lots of good ideas. They just had to talk it out first. So it's really good to talk it out in the speech to text sometimes, and then go back and work it, make it more, a little bit more grammar accessible. You can even speak out math word problems with Equate.io. Pretty cool. And actually, it turns out, and this is interesting, but studies are beginning to show that if you use speech to text, your grammar gets better. Sometimes speech to text, you'll be talking on your phone and you say, take the next right, and it gives the W right instead of the R right. Or it'll give you a weird word when you say someone's name. And that's true. So you think it'd be more inaccurate, but what the data is showing is a lot of students, and this is regular education students, that use speech to text have more time to go back and fix their grammar. So grammar is actually improving because speech to text is saving so much time for some students. And this is, again, a perfect time to say, hey guys, this is a speech to text feature. Why don't you try it out and see if you like it, see if it helps your writing. These are the options and tools you have, right? Really good time to explore that. And I guarantee you'll find some students, and not just those with special needs, that really like talking it out first and do find that they have more time to go back and fix their grammar, etc. One great thing, and one of the last tools I'll show you, is Adobe Spark. It's on the iPad and it's a website, and it gives you a template and a step-by-step guide of how to make a video. So each part, it may say, hey, I'm going to tell a hero's journey. You just type in what you want it to be. You select your background from their background archive, or you could take a picture live. You could take a picture of something you're doing. You hit the record button, you record your voice. This is the easiest way to make videos. I've seen kindergartners go through and make some really, really good videos by using Adobe Spark. And what you'll want is Spark Video. And you could Google this right now, and your kids could be making videos in their web browsers and sending you the links in Google Classroom, just like that. As you see, there's lots of hand holding. It doesn't let you get too crazy. The visuals are really cool. They add free music. They add free icons, free background images. And if you search for images on the web, it's filtered to be appropriately protected. Adobe Spark. And it's a good way for you to make videos as well. Great way for your students to make videos. One cool thing, if you're getting bored, have kids make magazines. That's a really good way to engage them. All you have to do to make a magazine, you don't have to use something fancy. You can go to Google Slides and change the dimensions. Say instead of like a 5x5 slide, you're going to do right here, page setup. I change to custom, and I say, let's do 8.5 by 11. And now that's going to be the same size as a magazine. So kids can go through, design their custom magazines, kind of like you would in Canva, but it's in Google Slides. That's a really cool way to express what you know. Some people even make yearbooks. Some schools make yearbooks using Google Slides, because when you're using a lot of images and you're trying to do fancy graphics and docs, it's very painful because your pictures break up the text. And you know that in Microsoft Word as well. You put in some pictures, all the text is mixed up. Here, you just drag and drop. You drag and drop where you want your text to be. You drag and drop where you want your images to be. Kids are making really cool stuff. Again, to close out, make choice boards. Fantastic. Your kids need choices. how to turn in their assignments, what types of things they can do, and also give them options of text-to-speech, speech-to-text, different lexile levels, different ways to rewordify, different ways to color code the writing. It may help them. There's also lots of interactive things out there. There's Plickers, there's Nearpod, where you can have slide deck, kind of like Pear Deck. Like right now, I could give you a bunch of questions and answers, and you can respond back to me using my Google Slide. There's cool places like Padlet, where kids can log on to a web page and your whole classroom can post some words as a response using speech to text, or they can upload images to a page that everyone shares. Everyone in the class can look at this page on Padlet. They can upload pictures, videos, all kinds of stuff. So it's a really good tool to collect a bunch of stuff and have kids be able to give you multiple multimedias and have everyone be able to view them. Fantastic. There's Kahoots. Gamification's pretty amazing. If you haven't, we'll skip that. But I'll tell you this, my wife sent out invite to Minecraft Education. Within 10 minutes, all her students, like all 30 students, accepted. So it's a really good time to try out something new. Minecraft EDU has lots of cool templates and methods for you to go through and teach lessons on English, math, science, everything out there. Your kids would absolutely love it. Again, my wife's entire roster joined in like 15 minutes of sending the email. They ain't got nothing else to do. And they all jumped in on Minecraft and they started learning together. It's the perfect time to try something new, guys. Yeah, we're going to finish up right here. So if you want this presentation and all the links, I have it right here. I'm going to give you a few minutes to write down the link right here where you'll have access to this slide deck and all the links in it. I'll be in for a few more minutes answering questions. Thank you guys so much for joining. Sorry I went over a little bit, got a little excited. I do that at times. Again, thank you so much, and I'll just be chilling here for the next 10 minutes. Thank you.